I'm not going to edit the entire thing, right? I'm just going to take out the
just
bits.
the bits out that make you sound bad.
No, I pretty much say I'm bad for most of this podcast because I'm not organised. I don't have anything ready. I'm trying to let you lead. You're in Greece. You didn't have your shorts on yesterday, and I just want to go through some of the games Forest are playing. So can we please go through them?
Yeah, that will be cool. That would be cool.
We're about a week after what was an incredible away day. Matt has just exited the recording. That's great.
You know I'm back in the UK in 24 hours and can just do this from my desk.
Are you not wearing any trousers? Matt, why is the reception so bad? Can you get a bit better reception?
It's room service.
So we're just going to go with this. We've got Scott, whose name is Scott Nottingham, who sent an email to us. He says he's lived in Norfolk, Virginia, off and on for the past 40 years. Most Nottinghams in Virginia, and probably the US, are descended from a Richard Nottingham, who came over to the Eastern Shore of Virginia from England in the 1640s. So he loves soccer. He loved the World Cup, and he has started supporting Nottingham Forest. His son, Drew, is now a Forest fan as a result of him. So a big shout out to Scott. He sent this really nice long email. We can't go through it all, but give Scott a massive shout out, Matt.
Yeah, no, nice. That's a really cool bit of history to hear that. That's really cool. I mean, does he know that Nottingham used to be called Snottingham? So his ancestor must have been post the Snottingham age. Which I think they believe they changed it from Snottingham to Nottingham because of the word snot. Yeah, cool fact.
I actually didn't know that myself, but his initials are S. Nottingham, so his name is technically Snottingham anyway, because he's Scott Nottingham.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Martin.
There you go, Scott, reinventing the history there. Scott.
Big shout out to Martin in California. He loved watching us take on Chelsea toe-to-toe last week for the last 10 minutes particularly, and how good is Jota Silva, he says. That's Martin out in California. Pat, anything to respond with that?
Yeah. No, it's great. It's all great. Have we got any music going on this?
Yeah, there is music. There's music underneath. I didn't put it on the front, but I'm putting it on the back. You're not the one dealing with it. Just grow up, all right? We've got Steve.
Says the guy nearly 40 doing a podcast for no money. Yeah, I'll grow up.
You're also doing the podcast. It's not my podcast.
Yeah.
And you're nearly 50. Right, we have Steve Huddleston, all the way in Tasmania at Wineglass Bay. Sent a really nice picture. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, stunning views from Steve. He posted out and added us in, so that's Steve. And then we've Adam Marchenko is out in Ghana at the moment. He's one of the guys who plays the Forest Fantasy Fives, and he's actually in Ghana. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, that's class. Fantasy 5 player all over the world. Wow, out in Ghana, one of my most desired parts of Africa to visit, based on accounts from friends. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well,
he's had a bit of a sinking week on Fantasy 5s, as Adam. I think he started off really strong. And he picked Taiwo. We both picked Taiwo to play against Chelsea, and both of us captained him, and then scored less than people I think that had Sangari on their team still from when they last played. That's how bad Adam and I did last week.
Not great. But speaking of last week, you and I were at the Chelsea away game. It was a great game. I think it's one of the best away days I've ever been on. My favourite part of the away day was travelling home on a flight with the Chelsea Irish supporters. God knows why there's Chelsea Irish supporters group. But there was a Chelsea Irish supporters group late that night flying back to Ireland. And I could hear them talk about us and say, one of them said, oh, well, if you don't go to Anfield and get a result and not be good. So obviously they deem us to be one of those dangerous good sides that can come to Stamford Bridge, get a point, and then roll on for the rest of the season. Now, we're not going to just talk about the Chelsea game, but in general, we're midway through the international break. How are you feeling about Forest?
It's kind of already become the fish and chips wrappers, the Chelsea game news, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was a week ago. Like, we're in the middle. You're in Greece, right? For everyone who doesn't know, Matt's out in Greece. We tried to cut some of the podcasts together yesterday, but his internet was so bad. You'll see some of that at the intro. His internet was so bad that we couldn't do it. And now here we are again on the Saturday. Tell us a little bit about, you're out in Greece at the moment. Greece actually beating 2-1
Home of
2-1.
the Marinakis family, home
Yes,
of our owners.
there
I've
you
spoke
go.
to a lot of Olympiacos fans here who are all buying, say they've got Forest shirts. They like supporting Forest as well because of the link, which is quite exciting.
Yeah, and the theme of the podcast episode would be Greece, not just because you're out there, obviously because it's the home of the owners. Greece beat England. Look, late, and you were out in Greece watching the game. Was there a load of Greek fans going mad in your face, or were you okay?
No, I was on an island, mate. It was very subdued.
Right. So it wasn't. There was no. Where did you watch the game? Were you in a pub or what? You know.
I was on the seafront on an island of Evia, and there's a restaurant with a screen up. There were about 10 Greek fans in it. Myself and I was at weddings with some of the guests from the wedding, with 4 of us, and then Joe Ledley of all people was there admiring the game.
Ex-Celtic, ex-Crystal Palace, ex-Derby as well. He had a few games. Yeah.
I was buzzing. I was trying my best to be respectful of someone on a family holiday and not talk to them about desperately want to talk about football and all his mates that have played for Forest and stuff.
Very good. Well, listen, international break. Look, you've always hated international breaks. This has been a good one for me so far because Ireland late won a game against Finland on Thursday night. So it's been a decent one so far. Obviously, we're playing tomorrow. Who knows what's going to happen then? But apart from international stuff, there's a few bits and pieces that we want to talk about. I mean, it's good to see Williams get an assist for Wales. Brennan Johnson's now 7-7. Ever since he shut his social media down, he scored 7 goals in a row. He scored for Wales again there yesterday. But Forest stuff, there's not much except the fact that we were fined £750,000 for posting that tweet. Get into that, Matt.
Well, there's no point in me getting into it because, I mean, do you want me, what do you think I'd say? What do you think? How do you think I feel about all that?
I think you'd say it's absolutely ridiculous. I think you would not even think about any parts of the tweet. You wouldn't even focus on that. I think you'd focus on the fact that we're going to find one of the
willing to stop.
Sorry, you asked me a question.
Yeah,
you asked me what I think you were saying. I was about to get to it, and you take it back. Right, go on.
Okay, carry on.
No, you carry on. You're the one in shorts in Greece. Go on.
I was just joining in this conversation. I'm not into this monologue after monologue. Carry on. Because people will be etching to hear it.
Oh, there's nothing to hear. I'll tell you what I think. I'm not going to tell you what I think you think. I'm going to tell you what I think. How does that work? Is that all right?
Yeah, that's great.
Great. I think that we were handed a fine that was probably, it's one of the biggest fines I think that's been handed out by the FA to a club. I think so. I think the other ones are
This was QPR.
QPR, yeah, for that, was it that transfer that wasn't a transfer or something? I don't know. But there was massive fines handed out for other clubs for various other things. This is one of the biggest that's ever been handed out. The tweet, the only issue I would say I have with the tweet a little bit, even though it's true, is the fact that it's slightly irresponsible when you're shining a light on one specific referee, and that's probably why they handed out such a big fine. But I never expected
because they shone a light on. Whoa! Why could you not shine it on? Why could you not? You're talking nonsense. Why can you not shine a light on one specific referee if that's the specific referee in the VAR box? Just clarify that for us. Who else should be brought into that? If Stuart Atwell was in the VAR, who else should have had the finger pointed at them?
Well, I'm not saying someone else should have a finger pointed at it, but I think if you post...
Yeah, but you said it was problematic that specific referee... You're not
let me answer the question. No, I'm not saying it's problem. You're not letting me answer the question.
Answer this question. Why is it problematic for Forest to point the finger directly at Stuart Atwell when Stuart Atwell was the individual in the VAR box? What's problematic about that is my first question.
Okay, so my answer would be, I think that they're correct to point the finger at VAR, and I think it's okay to be angry at terrible decisions. And I think we all do it with referees overall. I have to paint this with a little bit of context. My answer would be, I think if you specifically point the finger at a specific person, regardless of whether they're wrong or not, he was wrong, by the way, and I didn't like it at the time.
Regardless of whether he was there or not.
Just shut up!
Give us an answer.
The answer would be, I'd say, that person could be potentially targeted for a lot of abuse, and as they mentioned, he might be feeling a lot of anxiety as a result of this. So for me, I don't know if I've really answered your question, but that wasn't even really what I wanted to focus on. I just know that you wanted to pick away at that.
Because my point, my point is to get you to. We can't be making excuses for PGMOL, the FA, the Premier League. We can't be making excuses. It's disgraceful.
I'm not making excuses.
You are. You're going, oh, maybe Forest shouldn't have pointed the finger.
No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. And I'll cut this out. I wasn't. My point was...
Cut this out. Why are you cutting it out?
Because you're just talking over me. You're talking nonsense. It's just constant blah, blah, blah. Like, you're not letting me get my whole point out. You can't give me one question and then I answer that one question, then you jump on that. Basically, it's all part of one big thing. I've started this by saying it's a ridiculous fine. It's too much. It's crazy. It's one of the biggest they've ever handed out. I'm really disappointed with the size of the fine, considering, top six, Super Six tried to break away, and that's been sort of swept under the carpet. I'm really annoyed by that. That was kind of what I wanted to focus on. But you want a little bit of conflict, so you want to throw out the fact that I think there's slight irresponsibility in some of the parts of the tweet, even though I think it's true as well. Which, you know what I mean? So there's just a lot of nuance to this, okay? But I wanted to focus on the fact that they've given us a massive fine, but you won't let me. You want to lead this down the merry-go-round with me talking about how, I thought there was a slight bit of irresponsibility with the tweet, even though I don't mind the tweet that much and we don't really care. It was focusing on the 750 grand that we've got fined, which is ridiculous. That's what I wanted to focus on. But you won't let me. You want to bring me back in. You're a trap. You're a trap waiting to happen. You won't allow me to go one way. You want me to go the other. And I'm not going to buy it, Matt. I know your game, man. I know your game.
I know your game. You're talking yourself into a situation. You're incapable clearly of having a conversation, but because you get worried about someone else coming in. Chris, you're making excuses for Stuart Atwell.
Oh my God. I'm not making it. Stop, Matt. This is really annoying me because I'm not making excuses for the referee. I think what the referee did was...
Do you think Stuart Atwell brings the game into disrepute?
I think Stuart Atwell's decisions are horrendous, and I think that those...
Does he bring the game into disrepute? It's a yes or no answer.
I don't know about disrepute. I mean, I don't know. I think he made terrible decisions. I don't know what they were based on. You're turning this into me versus you. You're turning this to me. I'll just agree with you.
I'm trying to get to the bottom of it.
No, Matt, we've wasted 10 minutes on this. It's a waste of time. Well, I just want to focus on one thing. The fact that the fine was massive and it was ridiculous and it was disproportionate to some of the other fines. That's what I want to focus on. The tweet happened 6 months ago. Me and you both agreed on a podcast after the tweet. If you remember, probably don't. Brains so cloud fogged with beer and wine on that holiday. If you remember, we both agreed that it was much of a muchness. Sometimes probably a little bit immature. You didn't think it was immature at all. You loved it and that was it. We move on. It was like fine. I'm talking about the fine. Talk to me about the fine. Focus on the fine. Say
focusing
something.
On it. What do you want to...
Well, what do you think about it?
I think it's great. Well, I'm trying to talk. I don't know.
You've nothing to say about how big the fine was. You don't think it's a big deal. You don't think it's disproportionate.
Well, it's flawed. I think the whole thing is completely flawed. Of course, it's just we shouldn't the whole thing is a joke. It's not illegal to write tweets. It doesn't matter if you're. It's ridiculous.
It's based on some of the other fines as well. Like look at Man United's UEFA charge for a minor breach in FFP, but still a breach in FFP nonetheless for UEFA, a different governing body. 300 grand, slap on the wrist. Forest for a tweet from the FA complaining about a referee decision, which was wrong, by the way. The referee decision was wrong. So we were criticising correctly, whether it was slightly irresponsible or not. That's a different conversation.
They've said correctly. It's quite simply, they fined Forest for bringing the game into disrepute. And I'm arguing that they haven't. And I'm actually arguing that the referees have. And that's my point. So saying, it's ridiculous, it's a lot, it's disproportionate, Man United, it's like whatever. It's all upside down. And the only way this will ever change is if people like you and me stop supporting the game, stop doing podcasts. Everyone just stop. The fan base can only... Hello, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm actually listening to you. Yeah.
It needs to be like when we had the European Super League and everyone just forced the powerhouses that be to stop. If we want to force a change of system from an officiating point of view, you'd need something impossible to happen. We'd all just need to stop.
Yeah,
but it's not important enough.
Yeah, but it's not
important enough, and it isn't important. It's just football, isn't it? So you go, okay, we'll all still go and shout and cheer, but It makes me hate the game. Makes me hate. It's so hard to watch the constant one rule for one and one rule for the other that aren't in the top six. I mean, the top six is a loose term, as we know, because certain clubs aren't in the top six that are counted as. Point is it's so annoying how they'll be intimidated by bigger, powerful, more lucrative clubs, and we have to fall to the sword. We have just to accept it, actually, and stop fighting for just like equality and carry on, which is kind of what we're doing by virtue of going to games and being fans. But they might as well just stop getting angry about it. Maybe if we stop saying anything, they'll get bored of their own nonsense. I just really hope they all go out of work and we have to change course. But that's only going to happen with some seismic shift in culture. So it's not going to change.
I don't agree. I don't think every referee is bad, and I don't think every decision is bad. But I think
I'm talking about systemic. Sorry, I'm not every referee being bad. Just Stuart Atwell's a lovely guy.
Yeah, that's fine.
We're not talking about that.
I know we're not. I'm just saying. I think that the system is just flawed at the moment, and there's a lot of scrutiny over it. And with the new VAR video stuff that's come in the last 2 or 3 years, we're all new to that. You know, in America, I've said this before, basketball games, you'll have the ref literally speaking into a microphone, telling them why a foul is a foul. There's loads of stuff that's been changed, and there's video replays, and it's been there in North American sports for years.
But that's not going to help anything at our end. That's not what
no,
we
I'm
need
saying, well, the video
here.
rugby, for example, the video referee, that's been there for years. I'm just saying that there's teething problems, but there's more teething problems in football than there has ever been before with refereeing and issues like that. And the fact that Forest gets such a hefty fine for me is just it's a little unfair, and it's disproportionate to some of the other fines that have been handed out for some horrific stuff. You can go on the line and read the list of other clubs that have got fines for stuff that is ridiculous. But anyway, let's move on from that. Let's actually try and talk a little bit about football.
It was really nice to see those people that listened to the podcast at the Chelsea game. There were a load of guys there that we met that listened to this. It was really just a shout out to those guys. Was it Richard?
Rich, I think, Jonathan, I can't remember everyone's name. Yeah. That group of people who are legends. Big shout out to you. You came over to me and Matt and you said hi. It was actually great to see you. So yeah, massive shout out to you.
That was lovely, yeah. Thanks.
Sorry, can I just, one thing I'll say is I've just realized we're about 10, 15 minutes in and we've argued already a hell of a lot, right? We were sat in the away end and me and you were arguing about long throws.
Whether the long throws were worth it, yeah.
Yeah. And I was saying long throws are good. They give us an opportunity. They're good. And you were like, no, they're not. He should have passed someone and whipped it in. I said, yeah, but he wouldn't have had the space to do that. It's better just to straight from the set piece, dead ball, long throw into the box. And we were arguing for about 2 or 3, 4 minutes until
we argued over the free kick that Ward Prowse took that then resulted in the goal. And it was the goal that pulled us out of the argument. It was very funny.
Very funny, like typical me and you, like arguing. It reminded me of the time we lived in Soho and we had the biggest row I've ever had with you. I think we walked in arguing into a cinema as we were sitting down, taking our seats. We were arguing and you were going, shut up. And we watched this movie and we both loved the movie. And afterwards we were mates again. It was crazy. And it was kind of similar to that, except with the Chris Wood goal on the end of it. Chris Wood scored for New Zealand again as well. I mean, he
didn't actually fall out of you. We were trying to unpick whether those long throws were actually worth it or not. Especially because the one that he took at the time of me arguing had gone so appallingly wrong. Do you remember? It's what flipping waste that was.
No, I agree. It did pull us out straight away. And the rest of the game after that goal was remarkably exciting with red cards, bust-ups, end-to-end saves from both keepers. It was amazing. Yeah, there's no real big news in this international break. We've heard that Gibbs White isn't as badly injured as he was. We've heard that Matt Sells might be injured. We've seen Brennan Johnson score for Wales. I know he's playing for Spurs now, but we still love him. Chris Wood scored for New Zealand. Williams played well for Wales. There's not really much else to
Fantasy
talk about.
Fives will be an interesting one against Palace.
No one cares about your Forest Fantasy Fives game. All right.
Yeah, but you're talking to me and I care about it. You're talking to me and I care about it. And you just said there's nothing to talk about. So I'm giving you something to talk about. Against Palace, Fantasy Fives are going to be interesting on the whole Gibbs White and the keeper situation, I think.
Well, the Palace game is going to be interesting in general because I heard one of the other outlets, I think it might have been Forest folks, but I heard someone talk, I think it was Matt Davies, mentioned that the next few games are going to be really interesting for Forest. And the reason why is because a lot of them are home and they're against teams that we should come out at and probably hold a bit of possession against. Whereas most of the games we've been successful in this season, we've sat back and hit them on the break. So it's the Palace game, particularly after losing to Fulham at home. That game's going to be interesting because it's going to be how are we going to set up? How are we going to come out at them? If we don't have Gibbs White, we probably do. But if we don't, that'll be interesting too. Like do we play Alanga and Hudson-Odoi and Jota Silva in the 10? I don't know. Do we start Jota Silva anyway because he's in such good form? It's going to be an interesting dichotomy for Forest Fantasy 5s as well, Matt. Yes, so I'm going to have to look at my team and have a think about how I'm going to manage it and who I think is coming off the bench and who I think is going to do well. But
and who you think is going to be in goal and whether or not Morgan Gibbs White's going to be injured or not.
Exactly. Well, apparently his injury isn't as bad. He's just not gone in the international duty. But can I ask you a question? We've spoke about this. Your partner, who's with you in Greece right now, by the way, is a Palace fan. So where are you going to be watching that game with her?
Oh, it's Monday night. So I'm going after work to watch it on Sky somewhere. We tend to have gotten lucky.
She's not going to be with you, no?
Yeah, we'll finish work, meet, and go to a pub and watch it on Sky somewhere. Isn't that what I just said? I
didn't think you were going to, but you said to me last time you sometimes don't like watching the games with her when it's against Palace because the tension.
Not live. On telly, we can turn it off.
Okay.
But we always draw. So it's fine.
No, we don't always draw.
No, we can't go live because it's like, well, are we going to sit? I've gone to a friendly at the City Ground against Palace. Remember we talked years ago on this podcast and we got the clip. I'm with the Palace fans in the Lower Bridgeford end at the City Ground when Albert Adoma scored a 1-0 victory against Crystal Palace in a pre-season friendly, and you can see my fist punch the air in the away block and then quickly hide back down. It's so funny. It's actually on the camera.
Yeah, and it's actually where did you send me that recording or something? We did a podcast ages ago about it. Very, very funny. It is.
Yeah, we put it on some video content that went out on Twitter about 2 years, 3 years, 5, 10, 15, 27 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Right. Yeah, look, international break, same old story, but Palace. God, that was such an annoying little transition, wasn't it? Well, look, international break. Can't find my feet.
I know you've got to stop pretending to be some sort of news guy, Chris, and just talk to me about how you're feeling about Fantasy Fives, about the PGMOL, and you'll get along a lot better.
All right. Well,
it's so annoying.
Criticism. No, just the criticism's regular. And
all you do is criticize each other. We just criticize each other. That's all.
No, but but the annoying thing is like I criticize myself. No, but it's not hypocrisy. I criticize myself, and then immediately you come down the throat. It's like I'm slagging myself, and you should go, yeah, that's all right, Chris. Don't worry about it. Instead, you go double down. Get at him. But look,
I'm just saying, we can help you, Christopher, for next week.
Stop calling me Christopher. It is my name, but don't. Right. But like, listen, I always like asking this question, but generally, how are you feeling about the season? We jumped on yesterday when you got cut off rudely by the internet, and you started saying, "Oh, I don't know, yeah." I feel
no,
like
I didn't.
I feel like
I'm having a great season, but we're doing a podcast.
You've turned around.
Something to say? No, not at all. I even said, let's wind it back. I said when I was disappointed that we didn't get our 9 out of 9 points at home at the beginning of the season, unless something changes against Liverpool and Brighton away, and we managed to get 4 points out of that. I said, if we get that, then we're having a beyond brilliant start to the season. I mean, but that's the conversation ends there. What else do you want to say?
Well, okay, just give me, because obviously I'll do a preview for Palace.
If you find things to talk about, like the Stuart Atwell thing that you want to cry about, then all right, we'll just talk about the fact that Forest are doing pretty.
Sorry,
really
you don't need to. You don't need to mug me off. Like I'm not crying about anything. Let's just look at the next group of games and go through a list, like we do in the WhatsApp group with Will. I know people don't like grouping games, but it's only the only thing we can talk about really at this stage, right? So let's group the games.
It's not. It's the only thing you can think of to talk about. But go on.
Well, what do you want to talk about?
The PGMOL and the nonsense.
We spoke about it. We spoke about that already.
You just shouted it down.
No, because we were 12 minutes on that, Matt. You don't see the timer. Anyway, Apparently you have to get off in Greece, but the moment you get your dog with a bone, you can't go away. Let's just stick to the games.
Let's go.
Oh,
Palace win.
no, hang on. We're got 6 games.
Then we have West Ham, right?
6 games, 4 of them at home, 2 of them away. We should be picking up some wins from these games, particularly with how we're playing this season. We're a hard team to beat. We're hard to break down. Teams haven't scored many goals against us. We're doing well. Let's focus on these 6 games. Forest v Palace at home. Leicester v Forest away. Forest v West Ham at home. Forest v Newcastle at home. Arsenal away. Ipswich at home. Start with Palace on the top. Are we winning that game? And should we be winning that game? Yes or no?
I'd like to say that we should be, but not because of who the 2 clubs are, but because of the current form in the league so far. But the international break feels like it could be a psychological turning point for both teams. I think we're going to lose, actually. I'd like us to win, but oh my God, I can see it being another Fulham.
You're not easy to get on with here, Matt. You think we're going to lose. Right, well, based on the form, Palace haven't won a game all season. They played 7 matches, 0 wins. Now, do you want to answer to that? Is Glasner under pressure?
He will be under pressure, won't he? He will be under pressure, but he'll probably... I mean, if they lose to us...
Kim's laughing in the background there. She's obviously a Palace fan.
Not us. She's got her headphones on.
Oh, okay. Go on.
If Palace lose to us, Glasner will probably be leading candidate with Gary O'Neill to lose their job first.
Definitely. Well, not Ten Hag, because by the looks of things...
Oh, yeah, Ten Hag. That's a good point.
Well, no, but they're keeping them.
They're going to be at boiling point if they don't beat or draw. If the draw will be all right, but if they lose to us, it's not looking good for him. And having now said this, though, gosh, do you really think we can pull off a win against them, given the circumstances?
Yeah, I do, definitely. I do. Even though we're missing a couple of players, and even though Gibbs White will be just coming back if he is back, yeah, I do. Reasons being, Palace, their style of play and the way they play against us hasn't really matched up versus us well. I mean, last season we should have beaten them at home. We drew 1-1 with that great Chris Wood header. I think they have the talent to score wonderful goals against. I think they scored a cracker against us at home last season. We drew with them 0-0 away. Murillo went in that marauding run. And obviously the season before that, I think we got 4 points off them, beat them and drew with them. And look, that obviously means nothing. Teams have changed and style of play has changed. We've had full pre-seasons, but I think we can beat them, definitely. I think Palace, we're kind of like what Bournemouth were to us. We're kind of their Achilles heel a little bit. So I think we can beat them, and I think we will win. And I'll do my score prediction now, but I'll do it again in the preview. I think we'll win 2-1. I think we'll win 2-1. I think you'll be delighted. I think you'll be just like the time Adoma scored in that friendly game, punching the air once again. So yeah, I think we can win, and I think we will win. Move on. Leicester away. What about that? Steve Cooper.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I feel like, I mean, it's so silly. I feel like this. Let me just try and predict if we're going to talk about winning or losing, because it could just go either way for so many reasons. It could go nowhere. It could be 0-0. It could be whatever.
Leicester picked up their first win of the season there just before the break, which is giving them confidence. I think they probably would have liked to keep going then, because they play Southampton away next, then us at home. So this break,
I feel like if we lose to Palace, I feel like if we lose to Palace, we don't beat Leicester for some reason. If we beat Palace, we probably draw at Leicester, yeah. So I'm going to say we draw away at Leicester.
Okay. I mean, I think that'll be a reasonable result. Stops them from getting any sort of momentum. You know what I mean? I think we should beat them, but I don't think it's a terrible result. Now, away from home, we've been really good, remember? So, away from home...
They has got people. What's his name? The one that was at Brighton. That Argentinian.
Buonanotte. Sorry, his name.
I'm going to edit that out so I don't sound like I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, I'm not going to edit it down. No, I'm not. I'm just saying that.
You can't.
I don't care. I got the name wrong. Big deal. Happens all the time. Shut your mouth.
I know.
Okay. Anyway, carry on.
He's an absolute. I don't know. I remember thinking he was a completely. I thought he was amazing at Brighton that year, wasn't he? He was like a sort of newcomer that shone like a star, and he's just going to keep getting more and more scary for Leicester in and amongst the other players there. They've also got like Jordan Ayew, heavyweights,
listen,
man.
and James Justin scored a
Side.
couple of great goals against Arsenal in the Emirates the
Yeah.
other week. We've got at the Fast at the back. They have some good players, but overall, we are a better side than them. They've just picked up their first win. They're going to go to Southampton away before they play us. I think they'll be expecting.
Okay, that's good news. That's good news.
Yeah, I think they're going to target us at home. You're saying it's good news because you want them to play a lesser team first so that they don't have a backlash. Is that right?
No, I just think it's tricky for them to go to Southampton. It'll be another massive game for Southampton. It'll be like when Southampton played us. It'll be like when Southampton played whoever else went there recently. Ipswich, was it?
Yeah.
It's going to be another one of them. It's just a lot of energy. And then they've got to follow that with their local derbies, Nottingham Forest at home. I'd love to go to that. It's going to be more interesting seeing Cooper come back to the City ground just because of what that'll bring. But it'll be interesting to hear if... I certainly think there'll be some chanting... some love chanting towards Cooper from the away Forest fans, because the last time Forest were there, they were singing his name and we were 4-0 down, I believe. I actually was thinking the same thing. I was thinking there's going to be the away fans are going to be singing his name, and that's going to ruffle some home fans' feathers, especially if Forest are winning and we're singing Cooper's name. Imagine Forest winning there, being like 2 or 3-0 up away from home, and we're chanting Cooper's name, saying, which we love him. The Leicester fans will start getting really annoyed, and they'll turn. They already kind of turned before they won that last game, but now they seem to see that they see the value in having someone like Cooper who's done this before, who's done this mission before, you know? Yeah. It's going to be a shame if they're winning and we start saying horrible things to Cooper, but whatever. We move on from that and we'll talk about that game as and when it comes, Chris. Come on, let's rattle through the other 3 games because I've got to leave in 90 seconds.
West Ham, home.
Win.
Yeah, beat them home last 2 seasons. Both times, one time they came to the City Ground at the very beginning, and we were lucky.
Say win, lose, or draw, because we can do podcasts between now and then, Chris. Win, lose, or draw.
Win.
Then win. Go.
Win.
Next
okay,
one.
Thanks. Win. Okay. Newcastle at home.
We're going to lose. We're going to win it.
Okay, that was a quick change of mind. Why are we going to win that game? Just answer. Elanga, who's been their Achilles heel the last couple of games, actually, home and away. Okay. So you just think Elanga, that's it. You're not giving me any other reasons. You're not going to flesh it out.
I told you I've got to go. I'm hanging up this thing in 30 seconds, so I'm just trying to help.
Okay, hang on. Okay, I'll just tell you this really quickly. Okay. Newcastle have been pretty off form in terms of their performances at the start of this season. If you analyze their games, they've got points that they shouldn't have, and now it's starting to slip a little bit. So hopefully that continues by the time we play them. How about that for a little summation? You just look so disinterested, but okay. We'll wrap this up.
No, I'm not. I'm looking at the clock and I'm getting beckoned out of a room.
Okay.
Okay.
Arsenal away.
We're going to lose.
Ipswich at home.
Win.
And we're both probably going to try and be there for that game. And with that, we'll say goodbye. Matt from Greece, thanks for joining me. It's been a comedy show of ours.
Chris, lovely to catch up.
Okay, follow us at forestallover on Instagram or at NFFC all over on Twitter. Like and subscribe this video, please. It helps. Didn't do it earlier in the video.
You don't have to if you don't want to, though. Please, Chris.
No one has to do anything that they don't want to do.
Yeah.
No one has to do anything that they don't want to do. No one's saying they do. Big shout out to Elliot, Dave Sanders.
Thanks very much. I mean, Jesus.
They haven't. Big shout out to Elliot, Dave Sanders, lots of other people. Edwin for calling you the prince and me the pauper, and saying when was the podcast coming back. And there was a few review corners that I probably missed out on, but I'll get them in the next episode. All right. Thanks, everyone. It's been a pleasure, Matt. All the way from Greece. Bye-bye.
See you later, mate. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
And that is that.